So the Minnesota Timberwolves strike back and take game 2 against the Denver Nuggets, 119-114. And it's very clear that we saw many things from the Wolves in game 2 that we just simply did not see in game 1. And this was a big win for the Wolves, right? To head on the road for the first 2 games, to come away with at least one of those games. So that way, when you return to Minnesota, you are not down 0-2 trying to dig yourself out of a hole against a very explosive Denver Nuggets team. So I briefly want to talk about what we saw in game 1 because it's relevant to what we saw in game 2, but I want to recap game 2 mainly here. Listen, we saw in game 1 that it was tied up at the half. Nikola Jokic had a very quiet first half. Jamal Murray really struggled to knock down anything from range the entire game, but he was still very, very explosive on the interior, making plays, dishing the ball off to where several other guys were making plays. And down the stretch, Aaron Gordon was a major reason as to why the Nuggets were able to get the job done in game 1. But really, it was Nikola Jokic really taking over in the second half. He ended up having a triple-double in the game, and he started to get the better of Rudy Gobert in the second half, to where Rudy did a very good job in the first half, but then the Nuggets started to make some adjustments. They started to get the pick and roll going, started to pull out Rudy Gobert and get him into some of these tough situations to where Jokic was able to drive and really start to capitalize. And one of the big things from the Wolves in game 1 was there just was not a ton of consistent offensive productivity outside of Ant Edwards. And obviously, one of the big concerns was Edwards missed kind of that final stretch of the regular season because of the knee injury. And we saw him exploding in game 1, getting to the rack, making a ton of these explosive plays, making some plays on the defensive side of the ball. But when he was pulling up from range, he was moving gingerly on that knee, kind of, pulling up on some of his shots. And I'm like, this isn't looking good, man. Not looking good. So hopefully we can maybe start to see him get his win back like he was saying and start to kind of find his groove and shake off some of that rust. And I feel like we saw a lot of that in game 2, but we saw a lot more productivity on the offensive side of the ball from the Wolves in game 2. And a big thing, kind of what Jaden McDaniels was saying in the postgame, they went right after this Denver Nuggets team. They went right after Jamal Murray. They went right after Jokic, and they put them on their heels to where I feel like Rudy Gobert, he won game 2 against Nikola Jokic. I feel like he was in his head a little bit, right? Jokic down the stretch, a guy that is known for that little drifting floater, man, like he doesn't miss. He makes that shot basically 100 out of 100 times, if not 98 out of 100 times. And for him to pass that up, and I know he was saying that's a shot that I should have took, but for him to pass that up and try to get it to Brown, right? I know that Brown ended up getting fouled and did go to the free throw line, to be fair, but in that moment, when you're the guy, Jokic, that is a shot that you just have to take. Obviously, he knows that, but for me, Gobert was balling in this game, man. I know he only had 2 points. He played 28 minutes, but on the defensive side of the ball, we know how unbelievable of a defender Gobert is. And that's why I picked the Wolves to beat the Denver Nuggets here in the first round. A lot of that has to do with the defense that Gobert can play on Jokic. He's a guy that understands how to deal with Jokic, and that is exactly what we saw in game 2, because it's not like Jokic didn't have a good game. Right, he played 40 minutes, scored 24 points, was 8 of 20 from the field, 1 of 3 from three-point land. He's been struggling to knock down buckets from range, right, was 7 of 7 from the line, and Jokic had a good game. But to me, he started to look fatigued and a little bit gassed later on in the ballgame, and I feel like Gobert really did start to have his way with Jokic as the ballgame started to play out. And Jamal Murray, he played a really good game, right, 43 minutes, 30 points, 11 of 25 from the field, 6 of 14 from three-point land, because he was not good from range in game 1, which we knew that was, he was going to figure that out. But this is a team, to me, that went out there and played a very good game, but Aaron Gordon did not have the same kind of productivity. He played 37 minutes, 8 points, and Aaron Gordon, one of the guys that when he's in the lineup for the Denver Nuggets, he is a huge asset to them on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And Tim Hardaway Jr. dropping 16 points, going 3 of 3 from three-point land. He is a huge player for them coming off the bench. But for me, it was really about the Timberwolves, man, and the job that Gobert was able to do defensively. And we just saw the unit overall on the offensive side of the ball just play so much better as a whole than they did in game one. Right, Julius Randle giving you 36 hard minutes, 24 points with 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point land, and 8 of 13 from the free throw line and getting 8 rebounds. And a lot of those free throws, at least a couple of them, were clutch down the stretch to help ice the ball game. And Jaden McDaniels, who I've been saying I think is one of the most underrated players in the NBA, one of the most underrated defenders. He's elite on the defensive side of the ball and also very good on the offensive side of the ball. And a guy that looked very frustrated in game one. And in game two, it's clear that he's got this edge to him. He's got this kind of pissed off attitude with a chip on his shoulder to go out here and get it done against the Denver Nuggets, putting up 14 points, 7 of 15 from the field, making some plays on the defensive side of the ball. And while Gobert only had 2 points and, didn't light up the stat sheet, he was a guy that was a presence, man. And at the end of the game, when Jamal Murray, in my opinion, took a bad shot there, it was basically a long range two. I'm not quite sure. I didn't think it was a great shot. They had some time left on the clock, moved the ball around, try to knock down a three or something. But they got the switch. They got Gobert on Murray, and he got a hand in his face. And that's what we saw from Gobert all night long. Whether it was on Jokic or it was on someone else, he was just constantly there with a very annoying presence. And that is when Gobert is at his best, man. He is a very, very good defender. I think one of the best when it comes, the defenders of all time. And then Dante DiVincenzo, man, this dude, I've been saying is one of the most underrated players in the league. 31 minutes, 16 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 4 of 7 from three-point land, knocking down a crucial three-pointer late in the ball game and then having that dunk to basically ice the game. He is a key piece in this series. Him and McDaniels, key pieces. They have got to ball out. Julius Randle has got to ball out. And Rudy Gobert on the defensive side of the ball, being able to find those answers for Jokic, if he can continue to play like that, and the Wolves can continue to get this offensive productivity, they are going to get this job done in this series, man, because Ant Edwards played 40 minutes, 30 points, 10 of 25 from the field, 3 of 11 from three-point land. Still feels like he's a little bit off on the long ball, but I feel like a lot of that is him just kind of getting back into the swing of things. But he also had 10 rebounds and was 7 of 9 from the free throw line. So just wanted to kind of point out some of the stats and really the contribution that we saw all around from the Wolves in this game. It was a collaborative game where we saw multiple different scorers, guys getting the job done, right? Naz Reid, another very important guy in this series, playing 27 minutes, coming in down low, playing some good minutes defensively as well. Right, 11 points, 4 of 9 from the field. And then to have Ayo go out there and knock down 9 points for you, and then Bones Highland having some very important minutes, right? 10 minutes, but put up 13 points. A guy that was able to knock down 3 of 4 from 3. So if they can continue to put up this type of offense, and you can get that lockdown defense from Gobert and find ways to neutralize Jokic and find ways to neutralize Aaron Gordon, that is going to be how the Wolves are able to get this thing done. So very impressive game 2 from the Wolves. Again, the Nuggets, they left some things out there, man. A bad shot, in my opinion, from Murray late in the game. Jokic passing that one up to Brown, and I know Brown got to the free throw line, but that's a shot that Jokic has to take. It's a shot that he has to take, but something to keep an eye on is now the Wolves seem to have that confidence of, we're just going to go right after this defense. We're going to go right at Jokic and drive on him. We're going to go right at Jamal Murray and try to blow right by him. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Nuggets are able to respond in Game 3. This is by far my favorite series here in the first round. I'm excited to see how the rest of it plays out. I hope that we get a 7-game series because these teams, every time they play, it is must-see TV.